am Jessica Citizen from Player Attack. We are here at the Ubisoft booth at E3 2012. I'm with Hugo. We're talking about Assassin's Creed 3, and you're actually from Ubisoft Singapore, not Ubisoft Montreal, but you've been working on something very exciting that's coming up in the new game. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, we're very proud. We're partnering with Ubisoft Montreal, and they gave us a lot of freedom to come up with a very fresh idea. So that was a big surprise at the Sony press conference, and we came up with a huge naval battle in the Caribbean seas. And the reason why we wanted to tackle naval battles is that it had a key role in all the American Revolution. Most of the supplies, troops, gunpowder was coming through the sea from the old continent or from the Caribbean. So we've got tons of action and missions happening along the North American coast and in the Caribbean.
So this time around we get to see Connor rocking it out, almost like a pirate.
Well, he's the commander of that ship. The ship is called the Aquila. And his mission is to chase Templars, so that's what he does in the three environments we have, so cities, Boston and New York, as well as the naval, and also in the frontier.
Because the frontier is pretty much all that we'd really seen up until this point. So now there's new places. It's way more than just the snowy tundra that we'd sort of expected. What was it like working with all of these different environments?
Well, the goal was to really immerse the player in a huge scale, because I mean North America, especially at that time, was just huge, right? It was a continent to discover, and we wanted to recreate that feel. At the same time, it was very buoyant, and in the cities along the coast, in particular Boston and New York, were full of life. Boston was already rebellious, so we see the redcoats as almost an occupation type of troops, and that gives a lot of gameplay opportunities. Also, each environment has been modeled during the summer as well as during the winter. And the winter really gives new gameplay opportunities, especially in Frontier, because the deep snow really slows you down. So it pushes you to climb trees and do all the stealth and run action in the trees with new technology called the tree climbing.
I was about to ask about people jumping off of buildings, and then someone's jumping off a building behind us. People who think Assassin's Creed, they think about climbing up to the top of spires and looking out across stuff and then, leaping off into the great abyss. Are we still going to be able to do that even though we're on ships and we're in the frontiers as well?
Yeah, of course, the core DNA of the brand is infiltration and stealth in cities. So we have this. At that time, Boston and New York were already pretty big, and we have a lot of life there. So, of course, we don't have the landmarks that we used to have in Italy or Constantinople, but still there are still a few old landmarks, like the old State House that you might recognize. And we basically remodeled about 1/3 of what Boston was in the 18th century, and same for New York.
And the frontier is just a bunch of trees.
Well, there were a lot of action going on. There were forts. You can travel, in the frontier. So there are trees, there are camps, and it leads to big battle. So one of the gameplay trailers that was announced before E3 was taking place in Bunker Hill, which is a historical battle. So that's all connected. If you look at Boston, Bunker Hill, the frontier, all the way to Charleston, all this was, connected.
Without giving too much away, this is, it's going to be the game that wraps up the whole trilogy. Will it be a deep and satisfying ending, or are you guys just going to leave us with another cliffhanger and we don't know quite where we're going to go from that?
Well, we actually have two writers on the booth today, yep. And they know, but we don't, and we can't really tell much. But what we know is that the action is happening across 30 years of the American Revolution, so before, during, and after. It's about the history. It's about that struggle between the Templars and the Assassins. So that fight, that political powers and the stakes of these powers in this new country, I think, are still at stake today. So
You talk about how some people know one part and some people know another part, and by their powers combined, they will produce Assassin's Creed 3. What's it like with you guys working in Singapore and a whole chunk of the team working in Canada? How does that work, and how was the jobs, how were they divided up?
So the lead studio is Ubisoft Montreal, and you probably heard about Alexander Hutchinson and François Pellan. So Alex is the creative director, François is the lead producer. They do a fantastic job at making sure there is a consistent vision. They visit us in Singapore. We also send people. And we are on the phone almost several times a week. So it is a challenge. At the same time, there is such a passion and so much creativity going on that we really believe it's the strength of Ubisoft that we can regroup several studios, and they all bring something different.
Excellent, and they all bring something great, because it is Assassin's Creed 3. We're all really looking out for it. It's coming out in October.
October 30th.
And it's coming out with a new PS3 bundle pack with it, as we saw on Tuesday as well. So, congratulations, the game looks great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much for coming by. Have a great E3.